There's a particular kind of failure that ambitious professionals and business owners almost never see coming. And it doesn't announce itself. There is no alarm, no sudden collapse in performance, and it's gradual and it's incremental. And by the time it becomes visible, something has usually already gone wrong. This process is called decision degradation. And the neuroscience behind it is remarkably consistent. When you're operating under sustained cognitive load, and that means information overload, time pressure, complexity, uncertainty, your brain doesn't simply slow down. It actually changes how decisions are generated. You start scanning fewer alternatives. You rely more heavily on familiar solutions. You ignore information that contradicts the picture you've already formed. And you close decisions faster, not because they're correct, but because your system is under pressure to resolve uncertainty. And this isn't a character flaw. It's what happens when demand exceeds cognitive resources. But here's where the neuroscience becomes particularly interesting. Chronic stress doesn't just affect your mood or your energy. It changes the neural systems that determine how decisions are learned and how they're executed. Research in system neuroscience shows that there are two major pathways in the brain that shape how behavior is controlled. One pathway supports what neuroscientists call agency. That is, your ability to link actions to outcome, to evaluate consequences, to adjust behavior when circumstances change. In other words, goal-directed decision-making. And the second pathway supports habits, automatic behavior based on past patterns, efficient, fast, but relatively inflexible. Under normal conditions, your brain balances these two systems. You act deliberately when a situation requires thought, and you rely on habit when efficiency is useful. But under chronic stress, that balance changes. The neural pathway supporting agency becomes suppressed, and the pathway supporting habit becomes more active. Recent systems neuroscience research has mapped this at the level of specific amygdala striatal circuits. When stress accumulates over time, the circuit that supports flexible action, outcome learning, weaken. And circuits that drive habitual responding begin to dominate. A dual pathway architecture for what this means in practice is subtle but important. You become less able to update decisions when new information appears. You're less able to adapt behavior when conditions change. And much more likely to repeat patterns that once worked for you, even when they no longer do, and often without noticing. So for ambitious professionals and business owners working in complex environments, and don't we all, the real risk is not simply stress. The risk is decision systems quietly shifting from deliberate control to habit control. And when this happens, the decisions you're making, they still feel rational to you, but they're being generated by a system optimized for speed and familiarity and not accuracy. And that is exactly the question I explore in my work at Applied Brain Lab. How modern work environments influence the biological conditions under which our judgment and decisions operate. If you are interested in understanding how to protect decision quality under cognitive pressure, I'll be speaking at the ANA Applied Neuroscience Association Brain Breaks on March 17th. The session is called Cognitive Integrity, Protecting Decision Quality in an Overloaded World. And you'll find the registration link below. And if you want to assess your own decision conditions before that, you can take the default mode diagnostic. It takes about less than 5 minutes, and it's completely free. at www.appliedbrainlab.com.